Hi, my name is Steve Hoff, and I'm the owner of Ultra Dent Tools, and I'm here to introduce the T-Hotbox. And what it is it's a heat induction machine that utilizes magnetism and vibration along with heat to remove smaller, softer dents. Okay, the machine has limitations. It will not take dents out of aluminum. It will not take dents, sharp dents out of body lines or deeper creased dents, anything significantly sharp. It's just not gonna. It doesn't have the capability to pull it out without burning the paint. So it is specifically designed for paintless dent removal, and it's made by a company in Switzerland, and it's very high quality. BTAG Innovation, they're a long-term company that's been around making specialized auto body repair equipment. And so it's a very simple, they have two versions. They have the 120 version and a 240 version. This version is the 120 version, and basically you just have the unit itself with the rubber pads, so you can set it on the hood. It's better if you set it on a separate cart when you're working. And it's got, right now it has a 4-foot lead, okay, with the heat pin. So the heat pin has an on-off button, and then it has the sight groove, the V groove for sight, okay, and then it's got the connecting in. So you just plug it into the machine and twist it, and it locks. Okay, so now the machine has two sets of settings. Okay, it has time settings on the left-hand side, and it has percentage of power settings on the right-hand side. Your time settings operate on 100% power, and so you have like a half a second, 1 second, 1.5, all the way up to 4 seconds. Okay, at 100% power. So when you have it on those settings and you hit the button on the heat pin, it's only going to go on for that half a second or that 1 second at full power. Now, when you have it set on any of the time settings, the percentage of power settings, it's going to stay on as long as you hold the button for that percentage of power. So if it was set on 20% or 40 or 60, 80, 100, it's only going to use that percentage of full power for as long as you hold the button on the heat pin. Okay, so the object with this machine is to actually set the heat pin on the panel. You have to be touching the panel, but you don't have to apply pressure to it, but you just have to rest it on the panel. So if I have a little dent, I'm gonna just center it directly over the low, and I'm gonna demonstrate that in just 1 second. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the machine, and it's got a feature where if I start it when it's on the off position, or anywhere other than 4 seconds, it's going to beep every 5 seconds, and that's just telling you that it's armed and ready to go. So some people think there's something wrong with it, but there's not. So if you want to bypass that, you can turn it all the way to 4 seconds. When you turn it on the 4-second setting, and then switch it to whatever setting you want, it will bypass the beep, okay, the double beep. So now most people right now are using, the most popular setting is like a half a second at full power, or 1 second. Now those settings, the 1 second setting is a little bit aggressive, so you got to be careful, because the big problem with this thing, the concern here is that you can burn the paint. So we want to really be cautious to obviously not burn the paint. And so what we're going to do is, when you get your machine, you're going to test it. You're going to test it on some junk panels, some hoods, whatever, any junk cars panels that are bad, just so that you can get a feel for what the tolerance, what the threshold is before you burn the paint. So right now I've got it set on a half a second. So I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this dent right here. Okay, this is a relatively soft dent, not too bad.
Hold up. Can you put the tool away?
Okay, so here it is.
Okay.
Okay, so you got that in focus?
Yes.
Okay, so here I'm going to set it on the dent. I'm right in the center of it. and I'm going to hit it once and hit it twice, and you can see that pulled it up really, really good. Very easy. So these types of softer dents, smaller dents, are really ideal for this machine. This machine works perfect on these types of dents. And but what I'm looking for, and it's going to bring that temperature up to the 140, 150, 60 degree heat range right away. When you start getting up into the maybe 180, 190 degree temperature range, you're going to start to burn paint. So the way you determine whether you're going to start to burn paint is the minute you see a trace of smoke coming off the surface, you want to stop, you want to let up. So if you were on the percentage of power settings, and like I said, because you can hold it as long as you want on those settings, the second you see a trace of smoke, you need to let off or lift up. Okay, so now that particular one, it's remained a little bit high, so it may have been that I didn't need to hit it that second time because I cycled it twice. But that's not a big deal because we can tap that down. So that one's easy. We'll tap it down.
You want to explain what happens to the metal? You know, like it went up and let it when it cools down.
Right. Okay. So what happens with it is it's pulling the dent up, and just like with glue pulling or even using dent tools, if you push it past level and it stays a little bit high, we're going to need to tap it back down. But with the machine, if it pulls it up high, most of the time it's going to pull it up high, and while it's still hot, it's going to hold it high, and as it cools, it's going to relax back down. So you want to make sure that you don't want to start knocking it down until it fully relaxes and it ends up at its fully resting position. So this one it's in its fully resting position. So we'll go ahead and knock it down. So that's about it. So that one pulled it up a little bit high, which is not a problem. I'd rather be able to pull it up high and totally get the center of the low all the way out. It's better. Okay, so now there's a couple more dents here. This one may be a little bit bigger, but it's still not too bad. Half a second. Like I said, obviously don't need to go to 1 second because a half a second was in 2 cycles. It pulled it right up. So let's see what this one does. So that's about it. That was 3 because I saw I did it after 2. I saw just a little bit of low left in it because, as I said, we're actually looking through the V groove in the heat pin so that we can, so that we can actually see through that thing and we can read the low. And that's what's so neat about this thing is because you can look at it, and as you're cycling it, you can watch that low come up, and so that's when you know, and you can determine whether or not you need to keep going with it or not. So that one there, it looked like it got it because I think no, there's a little bit of low left in it right there. Okay, so let's do it again. Okay, so we'll let it relax. Yeah, it looked like it got it pretty good on that one. As I said, you don't really want to try to knock it down until it fully relaxes because you don't know where it's going to end up. And you can tell by the temperature of it too. I mean, when it's cooled off, it's going to be fully relaxed. But if it's still hot, then it's not fully relaxed. So that one's going to remain a little bit high, I can tell already. It's just a little bit warm. Okay, so, but that's easy to knock down, super easy. So now it's pretty much cooled off. So we can tap this one down very easily. that's about it. So now, let's see what else we got on here. Just a little bit of a softer low over here. If you get into certain areas on the panel, if some of the bigger, flatter areas or areas that are a little bit more concave might have a tendency to want to suck in instead of pull up when you're hitting them. So on those types of dents, we need to actually come in from the outside of the dent and bring heat into the center of it. So it just depends on where you're at, but sometimes they'll actually draw down instead of pull up. All these are working really good. So let's try that. That was just 3 little hits. Now, mind you, I'm on the half a second setting, but I could even let up a little bit off that time of the half a second and make it less than a half a second, right? So if I may just hit it and just bump it, or even lift up a little bit to control the amount of heat that I'm actually applying to it. So that one, I think, was right here. Yeah, it was right here. So what I was trying to do, I learned from the last couple of ones that I was putting a little bit too much heat and it left them high. So I was getting that one to where it's, trying to get it to where it just, I don't really even have to knock it down. So there's just still a little bit in it right there, but less to knock down. Very easy. Now, as you can see, this really requires the skill of a PDR technician, because just a layperson could probably do this, but they're not going to be able to have the type of results that a PDR technician would, because they don't understand how to read the light, they don't understand how to knock down, and that's really, it's a process of elimination in conjunction with the PDR knocking down in the light. So anyway, we got over here, we got a little bit bigger dent, slightly larger.
Hold on. We need to move the light because I can't see it.
Okay, we'll stop. Okay. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you ready? Okay. So this one is a little bit larger dent right here. I'm going to just change the settings just for kicks, and I'm going to switch it over to 60% power. Okay. So now remember, on the percentage of power settings, it's going to stay on as long as I hold the button on it. So I need to be more cognizant of that and know that I need to let up when it's reaching its point of being high enough. Okay. Okay, so that's about right. So it pulled that one up really, really well as also. We'll let it relax. Okay, while we're waiting for that one to relax, I'll just try this one back here. It's a little bit smaller. I'm trying to find one for you that will actually draw down instead of pull up. The ones that draw down typically end up being around the glued areas and the braced areas. So if you're near glue in a brace, sometimes it's going to suck down. So now this one came back just a little bit. That one's still cooling off. Okay, so I'll put a little bit more to this one. Okay. It's going to look very distorted when it's pulled itself up and it's still hot, but you'll see how all this distortion will go away. It'll relax and draw back down. That's very common, especially around glued braced areas, like I said. Yeah, you can see it relaxing nicely right now. So it's right here. And that other one, I think it was right here. You can barely see it, just a little bit high. So that one's just right here. So that one's done. This one's still a little bit high. It's just about cooled off. So I would say we could ship all those dents right there. Look pretty finished to me in a very, very quicker time than glue pulling. Now I could have glue pulled every one of those dents for sure, but nowhere nearly as fast as I could do it with the Hotbox. Probably, my guess is that probably 3 to 4 times faster than you could glue pulling, and a lot less grief, you know, with the back and forth and pulling it, you know. Okay, so we'll cut that.